Hi, Mr. Cormier. Good to see you.
Nice to be here.
I appreciate you making the time. I'm going to start right in on it because there are people today, I've read a lot of analysis in various outlets saying that the debate commission should be abolished. How do you respond to that general assessment of the commission's performance thus far?
Well, I think there are many components to what we do. I think we had a wonderful debate last night. A revised format that I think worked very well with very experienced hosts, and so I think the success of the commission is really based on that first and foremost. For the rest, we'll be doing some analysis after and make recommendations in our final report.
Let me go through some of the more specific things, and we'll start with the exclusion of the Greens. I think most people understand why ultimately the decision was made. It's pretty clear that they didn't meet the criteria as they had to, as the commission had spelled out. I think it's the timing that is prompting questions. We have known for a number of days that they did not meet the threshold for the slate of candidates they were supposed to run. Why did you wait until the morning of the debate to make that announcement?
Well, it's because we had to work on the list that they had submitted to us, not to Elections Canada. Because, we asked the parties to submit a list of endorsed candidates, the people who had, been endorsed to run for them. This was like 2 weeks ago. And we did this before Elections Canada list because you need 2 weeks to advise the party who's on stage, how to prepare the set and everything. So we thought that the list that the parties would submit to us would be pretty close to what they would submit to Elections Canada a week later, if you follow me. So we were surprised, like everybody else, that the Greens came under 100 seats from what they had pledged to us. But, according to the criteria, we had said, we'll trust you on the list that you give to us. So we thought we couldn't break that agreement. But when when the leader, Mr. Pedneau, said the day before the debate that they had withdrawn voluntarily some of these candidates from running for strategic reasons and to actually prevent the election of the Conservative Party, this was a breach of the whole philosophy of the debates and of the criteria, and then we had no choice but actually to withdraw the invitation.
So the discerning factor was, in fact, his admission that this was strategic, and not the fact that they didn't have the amount of candidates.
Exactly, because we had said if you have enough candidates chosen, even though you haven't submitted the final list to Elections Canada, by March 31st, we'll let you in. But this was based on good faith that actually the numbers were true. So we were, like I said, we were surprised that, they told us, well, there was an anomaly. Some people didn't get enough signatures to be on the ballot. Others decided to change their mind because it was too difficult. We're threatened at the door doing visits. You can't really verify that.
Was there engagement, though, with the party? Because Ms. May contends that it was more issues at the local level with Elections Canada and nominations, while it's Mr. Pedneau who talked about it being strategic. She later said that that's not actually the case. Was there some engagement? And I ask only because, it's a pretty serious decision to decide the morning of someone can't enter into debate that had ramifications for not just him, but for the rest of the candidates,
too. It's a very serious decision I wish I wouldn't have to make. But, we talked to the Greens parties, we verified with them, we asked them a written submission of what had happened, and then we had the public pronouncements of Mr. Pedneau, which were very clear.
So no regrets over that decision, despite, he says it's pressure from other parties that essentially forced your hand.
No,
there was no engagement with other parties on this?
We don't engage with other parties on the others' credentials.
Okay, next question about the timing of the debate, and again, why you waited as late as you did as a commission to move the timing away from the same time as the hockey game. We knew that hockey game could have happened. Why wouldn't you have made that decision in advance to allow for, again, the reason I'm asking is because we all want as many people as possible to watch this, to engage in this, since there are only 2 debates.
Well, if the Canadians had qualified for the playoffs a couple of days earlier, we wouldn't be talking about this. But
True, but we knew the possibility existed.
Yes, we did. We did know about the possibility. But when you actually prepare and choose dates, we do this along with the networks because yours and others have programming priorities depending on which nights of the weeks are better or not for ratings and all kinds of considerations. And this is Holy Week, so we had about a 3-day window: Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And for the networks, the dates, the best dates were the Wednesday in French and Thursday in English. So we went with that. We knew there was a hockey game, but we, like I said before, the Canadians didn't. We were hoping that they would qualify by the weekend.
Okay.
So after that, we started discussing things, and we decided quite quickly that we had to change the hour of the debate.
Do you anticipate that things like this will be a bigger factor moving forward in discussions, and even around, for example, the Green Party's participation, things like that? Like, is there changes that you are open to?
Oh, we're always open to changes, and we always do a thorough post-mortem, after each election to consult the parties, the media, experts on how to make it better next time. And of course, we'll be revisiting all this.
And just finally, sort of like a navel-gazing inside baseball question, but there were a lot of questions last night from certain outlets that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but appeared to be willing to use legal means to ensure their entrance, and essentially arguing, for example, that there are 5 divisions at Rebel News, and the portion of questions they were able to ask was much greater than everyone else there. Some of the stuff that I've seen published included you essentially saying okay to that, rather than continuing to engage their threats of taking legal action or their letters or their protests. Is that in fact what happened? That basically you just didn't want to keep fighting them?
No, I mean, we lost twice in court. We declined their accreditation request both in 2019, 2021. They went to court, and the court said you have no business in deciding what's a journalist. You have to let them in. And in 2021, we were ordered to actually have accredited 11 members of Rebel. So we had a back and forth, through lawyers on this, and finally we decided that we couldn't chance another defeat in court, which was actually just about certain because of the precedent. So the compromise for us is to say, well, let's give them 5 passes for the press availability, and maybe then, rather than have a court saying, well, you need to accredit 11 journalists like 4 years ago.
Is there a way to augment those so that other outlets have similar opportunities? Because nobody else got 5 passes.
Well, some got 4, bigger networks. But I mean, we're working on adjustments tonight to hope to make it fair for everybody.
And what are the adjustments for tonight?
Well, we'll be announcing them later.
You don't want to just announce them right here? Yeah.
I wish, but I couldn't do that right now. But
Okay.
We're working on that to try to make it fair for everybody, because we have 60 different news outlets. That's huge. We have people from Europe, from the United States, from all over, and all kinds of different media that go beyond the press gallery, which is usually the people who cover this. So it's a complex exercise, and we're going to try to make it better.
Look, I'm uncomfortable with the idea of blocking any. I get that it's a difficult nuance line to walk. I think it's just that last night, if people had been at home watching that, there was an inordinate amount of questions afforded to them versus others. I think that's what would have stuck out.
Yeah, and they lined up behind the microphones, and
so you'll work to try and address that this evening, is what you're saying?
We're working to address that situation. Yes.
Okay.
Make it fair.
We'll stay tuned, Mr. Cormier. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.